you're watching Keepin' It Green. I'm your host, Debbie Klughers, and today I have with me a filmmaker who is working on an environmental film called Hooked on Growth, Mr. Dave Gardner. Welcome to Keepin' It Green.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming along. And how long have you're doing this great new film, Hooked on Growth? How long have you been working on it?
I'm a little embarrassed to say, actually, a little over 4 years.
Well, it's probably going to be good then.
Well, it is. One of the reasons it's taken me so long is that it's a pretty provocative subject, and so it hasn't been easy to get funding. It's a nonprofit project,
Right.
and it really surprised me a little bit how hard it has been to be funded. So for many of those years, I've had to stop and go work producing other professional films to fund this project. However,
what is provocative about it? What's the subject?
Well, what's provocative is that it really questions our most fundamental framework for the way society operates today. If you ask any politician, almost without fail, if you ask almost any newspaper reporter, almost any broadcast journalist, almost anyone running for office, what is the most important thing today for us to be doing? Most of the time, the answer you're going to get is we need to restore economic growth.
Sure.
And so my film, Hooked on Growth, actually questions whether that is really should be our mantra. It asks, I think, what is the most critical question of our time, which is how do we become a truly sustainable civilization? And is pursuing perpetual economic growth actually a path to that? The other thing, that's about half of the film. The other half of the film really is looking at our attitudes and policies related to population growth.
Right.
So I've picked two hot potatoes really to talk about, and so you have to find someone who really has a lot of courage and a lot of vision to want to back a project like this. Surprisingly, I'm finding people around the world who are jumping on to the team and helping get the film made, not writing a lot of big checks, but I have volunteers in Belgium, Australia, Canada, London, Ethiopia, who all recognize the need for this.
It's a global project to sustain the whole planet.
Yep.
And you've got a website, GrowthBusters.com?
GrowthBusters.com or .org.
.org.
www.growthbusters.org. GrowthBusters we adopted as kind of our overarching theme because we're really busting some myths about growth. One of the things that I'm doing in the film is I'm asking, what is it that keeps us on this course that we're on? Why are we doing business as usual, even though every day in the news, you know it, we see news that we are bumping up against the limits to growth. We see news that we are in the middle of a mass extinction of species. We are facing freshwater crises, and major freshwater crises are predicted. We're finding out that we have pharmaceuticals in our water supply,
Sure.
even in the United States. We're impacting the climate. We have fisheries collapsing. People are starving. We're mining the fertile topsoil. We've got all these little bits of news that should be indications that something is not right. And yet we're staying on this course of pursuing continued economic growth and pretty much ignoring the impact of human population growth in the sustainability equation.
I think growth is good, but maybe just growth in a different way than how we've been. We need alternative energy. I mean, if we can grow those industries.
Well, we can, but you know what I found? It's been interesting in my research for the film is that if it's a mistake, many informed people, scientists, believe that it's a mistake to believe that we can completely power this kind of economy that we have and this kind of population on renewable energy, that we're going to have to seek other answers as well, that we need to get satisfied, that seeking more every year, year after year, of the kind of things we've been seeking more of isn't necessarily, well, we can't power it even using renewable energy. But the good news is, it turns out it's not really providing us with fulfillment and happiness anyway. We've all ended up on this kind of what I call a hamster wheel of producing and consuming and always wanting something new, something more. And so I think that at the end of the day, the conclusion that Hooked on Growth, my film, reaches is that, one, we just can't have more economic throughput and more people on the planet year after year. And even if we power it with renewable energy, expect to have any room left for other species on the planet, and expect everyone to be fed, and expect everyone to have a good life. But we can pursue those technologies that are cleaner, and we can get back in touch with what's really important to us, which really is, you know, that old cliche, no one ever said on their deathbed, I wish I'd spent more time at the office. They also don't say, wow, I wish I'd spent more time at Best Buy.
Or if they say your money or your life, you better not think too long for
That's
the
right.
answer.
You know, what everybody wishes is that they had spent more time with their family and they knew their children better, or that they'd been, you know, spent more time fishing or hiking or skiing. Those things all have pretty low impact on the planet. And so at the end of the day, we could, if we stop wanting 5,000 square foot houses and 4-car garages and start wanting time with the people who matter to us.
That's going to be a hard sell, Dave.
Well, that's why I think it's going to take a feature film like Hooked on Growth. And you know what? I don't really have real high expectations that the world's going to change after my film is released. I think we have it's so entrenched in our society, this worship of growth everlasting, that, you know, my film is just going to chip away a little bit at the pedestal. But certainly you're right, back to your question about growth of some other things. Certainly one of the guys a gentleman I interview in the film from Canada, Mike Nickerson, says what we need more of, what we could stand to have growth of, is the 3 L's, loving, learning, and laughing. Those are very low impact activities that we all, and we love to do those things. And so we could have a lot of growth of those things.
Sure. And does your film give tips for people to try to change their behaviors, or?
Not really, because this is, what my film is doing is, it's really looking at the system. It's saying, let's step back and hold a mirror up to society and say, what is our operating system? You know, let's say like Windows or Mac OS is the operating system for your computer. What is the operating system for modern society? And it is this growth imperative. So we're not ready for tips. All we're ready for right now is a big, bright spotlight that sort of shines for us and brings our attention to the fact that we have this extra religion working in modern society that isn't working, it isn't in our best interest. So I'm just trying to raise awareness. And the more people become aware of the fact that we're in a growth-addicted society, then they will begin to generate solutions. Sure. Now certainly I do hope to highlight some pockets of hope in the film. There are some movements out there because the question is, what do we replace this worship of growth everlasting with? And we need some answers. And so we replace it with, learning, loving, and laughing, but we also replace it with local sufficiency, with people meeting each other's needs, with wearing your clothes until they wear out.
Kind of going back to the olden days, you know?
Well, it is taking the best.
Sustainability is kind of going back to basics.
It's taking the best from the olden days, but it really is progress too. It's progress out of this. We've been on a binge for the past 100 to 300 years, depending on how you define it, and it's time for us to innovate our way out of that and progress to what's new. Because we.